So they forced the sale of TikTok to Larry Ellison. This one's got 31,000 likes. And then immediately begin the pressure campaign on X. I was wondering where this big pressure campaign was. We were like, where's the ADL? Why are they not attacking X? And then all in unison, Musk is X's go-to platform for anti-Semitism. CNN. Jewish Council for Public Affairs. Exposed. Clever. Jerusalem Post. X is among the most effective tools for spreading anti-Semitism in history. Research finds. I told everybody that the hammer was coming. I told you that all of this explosion of low IQ, Jews killed Jesus, synagogue of Satan shit was going to be used as a pretext to create the narrative and have the big shutdown. Need more ammo says, let's go. Jewish Insider study anti-Semitism thriving in plain sight. X is a major hub for anti-Semitic content. And this is probably true, there is probably more anti-Semitism on the internet, and because it's on the internet more than anything throughout history ever. The research identified 600,000 anti-Semitic posts between February 1st and January 31st. That's such a weird time frame, which combined were viewed 193 million times. Anti-Semitic posts like Jewish control or power conspiracies get lumped in with they're satanic, they drink baby blood, and they killed God, and Holocaust denial. These posts also accounted for 73% of all likes. How many times have I warned that they're going to use the Christian opposition to Jews to justify the takedown, to run cover for their power, to run cover for the victimhood? These guys that we'll see on the list, Dan Bilzerian, Stu Peters, Jake Shields, are some of the biggest ones on the top 10. Let's Go Brandon, some of the worst we was Hebrews, Jesus isn't Jewish, Christian-controlled slop on the internet. None of these big accounts are exposing that Jesus is a myth. None of them are exposing that Torah is fake. It's all perpetuating the controlled Christian anti-Semitism. Stu Peters, and also a lot of these people on the list, anonymous. A lot of the people on this list weren't talking about Jews online more than a few years ago. They're all newbies dominating the narrative and being used as the pretext for the big crackdown that's coming to discredit all the opposition and make it retarded and make it rooted in Christianity and religion so that it can be discredited and the hammer can drop. That's what's happening. Here's the list. Stu Peters, number one. The flat earth kook, the Jews killed Jesus kook, the guy the alcoholic that doesn't know anything about the Bible, that's got a long history of crimes, that's shilling a crypto scam with a cross in it. Number one. The number one voice, the Duganist. All these anti-Semites, and they're all promoting the God of the Jews. They all believe in the Bible, besides Jake maybe. But Jake sells Jesus shirts and says Christ is king, thinking that he's owning the Jews doing it. Every one of these promoting the Christian controlled op stuff that's probably getting botted and artificially boosted so that they can run articles about all the satanic anti-Semitic conspiracies about Jews, and then have the headlines for the history books, the narrative of the rising anti-Semitism in Edom, and then the justification for the big crackdown, which you don't think that they're going to be able to twist Elon's arm and shut all this down in the blink of an eye? Like a flip of a switch, and then it's, all the red pilling, the Overton window, the great noticing, all down. And what are you noticing when you're worshiping Yahweh? Stu Peters is bragging about being number one on the list.
Yours truly. This is breaking right now, but I need to bring this to you. You'll find this over at CN.
When this is the leader and this is the general, we're screwed. We're screwed. The guy that started talking about Jews a couple years ago leading the charge with they're Khazarians and they killed Jesus and they drink baby blood and they're the synagogue of Satan and all of the kosher controlled op talking points leading the narrative, and they're going to lose. They're just going to take the L. They're not going to lead us to victory. They're going to lead us to destruction. This guy is going to lead us to discredited destruction.
This is breaking right now. But I need to bring this to you. You'll find this over at CNN. Apparently, some Jew somewhere or a group of Jews performed a study. It's now been published at CNN, analyzing the top anti-Semitic influencers on all of the internet. And part of this reads, quote, in total, the top 10 influencers amassed 1,344,908 likes across 675 posts. Examples of anti-Semitic posts from identified influencers can be found at the end of the...
Just thousands of... Elon blocked the thing so you can't see what's bots and what's not bots. And we got just thousands of... Every time I see these guys post and it goes super viral, I'll go and look at the retweets, and it'll just be... It looks like fake after account after another, almost every one of them.
At the end of this report, which is... It's basically like a Hall of Fame for the best posts ever. The table lists the top 10 anti-Semitism influencers alongside their attributes, the biggest on X, if they're verified or not, if they have subscription status, and whether or not they have ads. So let's go ahead and pull out the results. You'll find these at CNN. There it is. And there it is, your boy right at the top, Real Stu Peters. The data is in. It's indisputable. Yeah. There it is.
There it is. The leader is the guy that believes in Tartaria and snake venom in the water, and the Jews are Khazarians, and Jesus wasn't Jewish. And what is his solution? Oh, we all got to worship the Jewish Messiah. That's leading the opposition.
Yours truly.
So the low IQ Christian anti-Semitism, it's so hot right now. Say Jesus wasn't Jewish, say Jews killed Jesus, tens of thousands of likes. Meanwhile, in the churches and the positions of power, you're not even on the radar as 0.0001% of actual Christians and real Christians. All they're doing is discrediting the opposition and keeping everybody on the kosher Christ cope plantation. Prophecy plantation.
Officially the most influential JQ account on all of the planet. On all of the planet, in the entire world, the number one anti-Semitic influencer on the internet is yours truly. And it's been
falling down the rabbit hole, believing every kooky thing that's spread on the internet. And then now they're leading the charge and representing the opposition, which is why we're losing. Yeah, all these guys that brand new. Meanwhile, there were lots of people talking about it before October 7th that have way better takes and don't believe all the kooky shit, discrediting shit. But now it's the lunatics are running the asylum. Most people out there are low IQ and fall for clickbait and sensational shit. So that's the influencers that peddle that is what gets boosted. And I don't believe for a second that there's not Israeli and Russian and whatever else bots propping up the low IQ stuff.
Come along with that. But, you know, it's really nice to be notated in history. It's really nice. And I do have an asterisk there next to verified, and that it says at the bottom, the account Real Stu Peters lost his verification and subscriptions. Yeah, you're damn right I did. Who are some of the others that were on that? Put that back up there. Who are some of the others there? There's Dan Bilzerian. Let's go Brando 45. There's my boy Jake Shields. Look at that. Great company. There are still few good men left among us, and they are there on that list.
Good men. Dude, this guy too, the flaming Christian idiot, Let's Go Brandon. He's the one that would steal a bunch of our rabbi compilations and post, has me blocked, promotes the dumbest of the dumb conspiracies about Jews. That's what's leading the charge. That's why we're discredited. That's why we're going to lose, because of these idiots, because of these controlled opposition idiots. Besides Jake. Jake is cool. He had me on recently. Jake is cool. I want to say that. Here's some of the highlights from Stu Peters. And yes, they do highlight the Jews killing Jesus because it's discrediting and it works for them. That's why Jonathan Greenblatt says this.
Anti-Semitism is a bit of like a virus. And like some viruses, it exists in the kind of body politic and it's dormant, like chickenpox. Mm-hmm. You get chickenpox as a young person, And then after the kind of inflammation subsides, it's still in you. And it can manifest again when you're older because of stress or age as shingles. Although you can get inoculated and you can prevent that from happening. So I think anti-Semitism is similar. It's like this contagion. It's as old as time, right? We faced it for thousands of years. First it was, after the death of Christ, there were these accusations that the Jews killed Christ and that the Jews weren't a real religion because we didn't accept Christ.
See? They highlight this all the time, because it makes you look silly.
This is some awareness.
And they are going to use this clause, this Jews kill Jesus clause, to convince people to pass these hate speech laws. Here we go.
There is one thing that is uniting the left and the right, and that is Jews. This is not just a problem on the left. Go look what's going on social media on the woke right. It isn't just some Nazis in a basement anymore. Okay? Marjorie Taylor Greene is holding up the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act because she wants to be able to say the Jews killed Jesus.
See, people now they have this narrative. People oppose anti-Semitism laws because they want to blame Jews for killing Jesus. And people hear that and go, oh, that's awful. Pass. Go ahead, censor those psychotic bigots. That's how the average person will think. That's what the average Christian will want to do. Let's see some other highlights from Stu Peters, the world leader in anti-Semitism. Your people killed our savior. Fuck off. 86,000 likes. And then Donnie owns him right here so simply. Wasn't that not God's plan? You killed the Messiah according to their plan, to God's plan, and fulfilled the prophecies and gave. You killed God. Your people killed God. 86,000 likes for Jews as supernatural God slayers. Rejecting them. Who cares if they rejected the Messiah? If it were even true, they really killed some rabbi that was telling them they weren't Jewing right. The Messiah is meant to conquer the world. Just because they reject him doesn't mean you want to worship them. If you care about Jews, who the Messiah is, you've already lost the game before it started. If you care about who the Messiah is, you've already lost. You've already forfeited. 4,000 likes. Remember that time the Jews thought they killed Christ, but he actually defeated death and rose 3 days later? Jews are so pissed about that one. No, they're not. They're laughing and boasting that Jesus Judaized the world. They got Christians are completely kosher and their greatest allies and advocates and supporters. There's rabbis all over the internet for 1,000 years laughing and boasting and bragging about how all the world believes in the God of Israel now and worships a Jew. Health Ranger read about it somewhere. Oh, yeah, I read about it in a book.
I read about it in a book.
In a book written by Jews. In a fake mythical fairy tale written by Jews. Oh, my magical Jew was born a virgin and rose from the dead. Oh, I'm sure it did. This is leading the charge. This is why we're losing, and the Jews are going to win. Because of this shit right here, I'm telling you. You'll see. You will see. Are you going to listen to Stu, who thinks the Earth's flat and there's a firmament and doesn't understand why the moon can be visible during the daytime, sometimes during the day? You going to trust this guy that just started talking about Jews and believe in every kooky thing on the internet? Or somebody that's been talking about it 10 years? Or even people way longer than me that have been talking about this stuff? Who are you going to follow? Your people literally killed Christ. His blood is on your hands. Are you retarded? Are you retarded? Do you think it's a winning strategy to say Jews have a blood curse? All Jews are cursed because of something a couple Jews, according to a story, did 2,000 years ago? Do you not see how most people see this? How most Christians see this? Dude, Jesus being at the center in the front of the opposition of Jews is why we lose. Meanwhile, all of the biggest pro-Israel shills, all the Netanyahu influencers, they're all promoting Jesus. They're all promoting Christianity. And then even the opposition that's leading the opposition also promotes Jesus, a fake delusional version of Jesus that he's a white Aryan anti-Semite. that wasn't Jewish. This is how much of a grift it is, too. Like this post if you know that Jews killed Jesus, and we'll give you a free giveaway. Give us Barabbas. It's literally that Stu's such an idiot, and he's never read any books about origins of Christianity. He probably has no clue that the whole releasing of Barabbas is just a fictional story retelling Yom Kippur, how they have the scapegoat. Probably doesn't even know that. Probably doesn't even know what the scapegoat is. Probably has no clue that Barabbas means son of the Father. And some early text said Jesus, son of the Father. So you had two Jesuses. When we have a guy as stupid as Stu leading the charge against... Here's Tucker. He thinks the same thing. What is this other clip? About the schizo anti-Semitism online, he thinks it's being boosted too.
Semitic comment about, and that suits the Israelis just fine. And if you're wondering why there's an awful lot of lunatic anti-Semitic comment about Israel online, you have to wonder how much of that is organic. Some of it, of course, there are always haters, but how much of it is not organic at all? How much of that, the lunatic, all Jews are evil? How much of that?
They're all cursed. They're all cursed for killing God. They're Nephilim, Edomite, Satan's children. That's what's boosted, and then because that's boosted and seems popular, it incentivizes other influencers to post that type of stuff, and it creates a snowball effect. And then people like the herd and the sheep, they see, oh, that's what all the big influencers are saying. That's what the echo chamber is saying. So they think, oh, it must be true, and that's how they artificially and inorganically boost this kooky stuff. Tucker is completely right about this.
It's organic. Some of it, of course, there are always haters. But how much of it is not organic at all? How much of that, the lunatic, all Jews are evil, how much of that is being ginned up on purpose to make legitimate questions about the U.S. government's relationship with the government of Israel seem like crackpot stuff, like hate, like David Duke level lunacy? Probably some, because it serves their interests. Now
there's stuff way worse than David Duke out there. Stu Peters is light years worse than anything David Duke says, from what I've seen.
Is a criticism of the state of Israel and its incredibly sophisticated propaganda campaign, which, again, the rest of us have been marinating in for a long time.
Hey, make the opposition look like Christian retards. Great idea.
But the true
villain... Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Yeah, David Duke is way more coherent than any of this stuff.
Here, I would argue, is not the state of Israel, the Jews. It's the United States. It's our leaders who are putting up with this. Israel is a small country with very limited resources, and it is doing its best to serve its own interests. You'd think every country would act that way, and most do. But there are some that don't, and ours would top that list. And so the true shame here, the actual villain in the story, is the leadership of the United States that is putting up with serial humiliation for decades. And for what reason? So if there's...
Okay, we got another one from... And then what else does Tucker say, too? The people that are obsessed and... I shouldn't say obsessed with Jews, but they frame it as mental illness.
Everybody on, your different reasons. And that's just not my worldview. I don't think everything's about Jews. Like, I have whole periods of my day where I don't brood about Jews. I mean, it's so crazy. And it's actually the definition of craziness. You see things that aren't there. If I was trying to make...
And these e-crusaders, in a way, they do worship Jews. They worship Jews by hating them as the central villains in their theology. Like, the Jews are the Christ killers, but they also gave you your Messiah. They're supposed to reject God until the end times. You're putting them on a pedestal and elevating them as like Satan's children, but playing a crucial role in God's plan. Oh, they have black magic, and they have they're sorcerers, and they're witches, and they have magical powers. And they're building the Antichrist temple, but you need that for Jesus to return. Just every aspect of it is just enabling the whole Judeo paradigm.
Make a point about Israel, I would just say it. Why wouldn't I? That's the last thing I intended to do. And I think it's very bad for your soul to become obsessed either because of hate or because of ethno-narcissism. I mean, both are kind of the same thing. They're twins with an ethnic group. Like it's crazy. Like I think they're both really sick and need to pull back from this. And you do see it a lot online where everybody on, your X feed is talking about the Jews. How is that good? It's not good for the Jews. It's not good for anybody else. It's all kind of a species of mental illness. And because it doesn't reflect reality, like in real life, I have a million interests and concerns. In fact, almost all of them that have nothing to do with Jews.
He's
or
just
Israel,
sweeping
or,
at
like,
this
it's just
point,
not
though.
an obsession for me at all. But
At all. I don't care at all. No, that's so weak. But the point I'm trying to make, though, is that normie people that watch Tucker Carlson, when they see Stu Peters and these guys on this top 10 list talk, they think you're mentally ill. They think you're evil. They feel sympathy for the Jews. This is the way it plays out, and this is the role as the villains that these guys are playing to the people that depend on having a villain that hates them.